on Hollywood Minute, you know, I was like, oh, I bet you're going to become friends with everyone you talk about someday. And she did become friends with a lot of celebrities.
Right.
So, you know, and then you meet people and you realize, oh, they're really nice. And like, you don't want to make fun of someone, you know. But in that sense, that's the only thing but it's nothing to do with her. It's
I
just
did a pilot with Kevin Smith once, and it was supposed to go on before TMZ or after TMZ. And it was basically, we stand there and they put like, you know, Ben Affleck up on a monitor and we talk shit about Ben Affleck. And then afterwards I felt like kind of gross. And I said, I want to be the guy in the monitor. I don't want to be the guy in the peanut gallery talking shit about the guy in the monitor.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to ask you this, when you work with somebody super famous, like she is at the top of the heap.
Yeah.
At any moment, did I just say, at any moment, they can make you Gayle King.
Yes.
At any moment, if she decides that Jen Kirkman is going to be the next famous person on E, she just goes into the office and goes, "Look, this is the person."
That kind of happened with Whitney and Ross Matthews, although they had their own things going on for sure. And Chelsea has a production company, so she does it, you know, by the books. Like they pitched things and it worked out, and they got pilots or they got series or whatever.
So, what keeps you from lobbying Chelsea to pick up your ideas, or you just are out of ideas?
I'm out of it. Well, right now, like for me, I want to just be more and more of a stand-up. Like I would love to be on the road all the time. I want to write another book. I want to do all that kind of stuff. So I do have a sitcom idea based on my book, based on my family, and she does have a production company. So last year I was meeting with showrunners to try to do that whole thing, and I just got too busy, so I put it off till this year. So that's what I will be beginning now through her production company is pitching, but it would, you know, it'd be at other networks. It wouldn't be like
And the name of your book is I Can Barely Take Care of Myself.
Yeah.
And that's out now.
No, out April 16th.
Like I said, that you can pre-order that now.
On Amazon through going to jmohr.com.
Go to jmohr.com. There you go.
It's hardcover at a soft cover
Amazon
price.
Before this, Matty Boy. Let's not kill these people. So go to jmohr.com, click the Amazon banner, get Jen Kirkman's book.
I think they'll like it. There's stuff in it about my family, Klonopin, fear of flying. It's not just about how I don't have kids.
Are you afraid of flying?
I was, but now obviously I can't be because I fly all the time. So
my panic got so bad, I could only go on a plane that had 2 aisles. Like it had to have that middle row and 2 aisles on either side.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I have the opposite. I could only go on 3, an aisle and 3, because I felt safer. I'm actually enjoy claustrophobia.
I actually can only go on a glider.
You know, I even took a class.
I can only skydive.
I took a class called Logan's Heroes at Logan Airport in Boston to learn how to not have a fear of flying at age 21. Because I'm like, my life's fucked if I don't get over this. Because my fear started as a teenager. And it didn't work. I was the only one in the class who...
What do they teach you in the class? Statistics they should teach you.
They do. And the pilot comes in and talks. And then you do breathing exercises every week. Like, I couldn't even go to the airport. My dad had to drive me. And I was like buckling. In the Cutlass, literally. I'm buckling. And he walks me to class.
I'll drop you off curbside. You probably just got carry on.
He would come in with me to the class, which was in a Delta terminal, and there were planes parked outside, and even that was making me
This
sweat.
is giving me anxiety, this setup.
And my dad sat there, and he loved it because it was like therapy. It was taught by this psychologist, Dr. Al Forgione, who would smoke, and you could still smoke at that time in the airport, and he would eat cheeseburgers, and he would say stuff like, you know, you have to get your diet better. No coffee, no smoking. You got to really make sure that you...
About flying?
Yeah, because anything that could make your body physically panic, you want to avoid before flight.
Yeah, but there's no food that I put in my body that makes me... I've never been like, oh my God, I had a pork chop. I should go to the airport
but like
right
coffee or cigarettes or, you know, even junk food can kind of has a lot of sugar in it. So, but he'd sit there like, smoking. And we'd go, well, you can do that. He goes, I'm not the one afraid. And so we took a graduation flight from Boston to New York. And the pilot was like, I'm proud of you. I'm trying to do that pilot noise, but it didn't work because I'm not at a club. He's like, I'm proud of you. I just put my hand over the mic to do the psh.
Hi, everybody. Those are the calmest motherfuckers on the planet.
Well, now we know why, because they're fucking exhausted. They must have a weird death
JFK
wish.
in about a half hour. We'll just take a completely hack podcast. You and I doing pilot voices to each other. If you look on the right side of the plane, we're going to have a little chop. I like turbulence to become chop. We're going to have a little chop.
I hate turbulence. But
somehow it comforts me because if he tells me it's coming and we hit it, I know everything's going exactly as planned.
That's true. I just don't like the kind that dips down where you feel like an elevator dropped out under you.
To me, I've never been afraid of a plane crashing.
Me neither.
And I've been on some wacky ass. I've been on a plane that got struck by lightning 3 times over the Potomac, like
Holy
as
fuck.
we were coming in, when people were like praying and shit fell out of the overheads.
Oh my God.
And the pilot said, we were hit by lightning. It was a 777 too, which is like the biggest plane they make. And it was by chance that we were on it. He goes, 777 is a enormous aircraft able to withstand lightning. There's really no, boom, we get hit again as he's talking. The fucking guy never comes back on.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yes, and we're fishtailing over the
just hear him
Potomac
screaming,
River. I
calling
look
his
behind
wife.
me, everybody's holding hands. It scared the shit out of me. And when we landed, everybody got out and like prayed and stuff. It was very freaky.
People
and
like-
I've been on like prop planes in Iowa and snowstorms and McCall, Idaho. Like,
What are you?
I'm a comic like
Do you not learn from Buddy Holly? I won't get on a prop plane. No props. No gig.
I got to get there to get the money, and I got to come home to cash it. I don't give a fuck how I get
I will
there.
work at Starbucks that week to not get on a prop plane.
You ain't gonna make that corporate money at Starbucks, my love.
No, you know what?
That's
I'm
a
not
lot
going to
of.
make the corporate gigs. I know involve prop planes. I've turned down 1 or 2 things because.
Well, next one you turn down, tell them, but I know just the guy.
They've been like for makeup companies, but you know, I'll
Yes,
tell them.
my
me too.
grandfather was president of Revlon in the 50s, Jack Mohr.
You're fucking kidding.
I wouldn't kid you. I would kid you, but not about that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any old samples from like the 50s? I bet.
Nobody.
Worth
He was a perfumer, and he had a whole setup in his basement in Montclair, New Jersey. And he'd have me come in. And he goes, JJ. He was class. Like he was so class. He would mow the lawn in a suit. He was that kind of guy.
God damn it.
He always had the suits with like a crest on it, like some
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Did you work in New York City?
Yeah, he was on the Heisman committee, and he was
Totally
like
madman.
21. Yeah, but super laid back.
Oh, I love
Not
it.
like didn't smoke. Just every once in a while, Betty, a martini's ready. And then like Thanksgiving dinner, there'd be like a fountain on the table that he made, and it
my
would
God.
be it would emit a nice smell.
That's a life I want.
It was neat
For like 10 minutes, for like a week.
to be a perfumer.
Not just to be a guy in a suit mowing the lawn and my martini's ready.
I think he's. What antidepressants were you on?
Effexor, Prozac, Lexapro,
Which one worked the best?
Wellbutrin. Prozac is my first love.
Really?
I love it like...
Are you on it now?
No, I haven't been on anything
Are you on Klonopin now?
in 4 years. I just have Klonopin that I take. I take a half of one before I get on a plane.
Yeah.
And then I have it as needed. Sometimes if I was like stuck in traffic on the freeway, I might... Anything where I feel kind of stuck, I might get a panic attack. But I'm really good now at talking myself down.
So your fear and panic was the same as mine, confinement.
No, wide open.
Oh, you're agoraphobic.
Like if you said go into Joshua Tree by yourself for 10 minutes, I would need something to run to and hold on to. And
That's normal. Yeah.
But the thing with the flying was I didn't mind being confined in the plane. I minded that we were in this vast thing called the sky. That kind
Called
of
the
bothered,
what?
The sky.
What's that?
It's the thing you're in.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me. And I used to be afraid of heights. And I turned down like a temp job in the World Trade Center. Great call,
On
by
September
the way.
10th.
On June a year before.
Not even kidding. For real?
Yeah.
What was that company called?
Oh, I don't remember the name, but it was like some temp assignment. And they're like, it's on the 50th floor of the Trade Center. And I was like, no.
So you were more Mad Men than anybody if you're doing all these. You said you had 20 office jobs.
Probably, because some of them lasted a week. Some of them lasted more. I worked at this place, Solid ING, another kind of weird, I don't know what that was either. But it was like the worst job. And then I worked at this is my favorite, an internet startup. This guy started, he was 35 at the time, which seems so old to me then. I was 26, or he was 33, who cares? And he was a short little guy. He started a company. I feel bad. It doesn't exist, but I feel like he follows my career still. Who cares? It's called Quixie. So this is the company. You would call a 1-800 number.
You don't want to be a short guy and have the name Quixie. It's just, you should be tall. Quixie and a short guy is
sounds
a
like
disaster.
Pixie, right?
Yeah, it's just Quixie. It's like a Bud Bundy startup. Like, I got this great idea, Dad, Quixie.
It was like that. This was the company. You call a 1-800 number and because you don't have your own assistant, this lady answers and you're like, hey, my mother's birthday's coming up. Go on Amazon for me and send her a gift. It was just
Good idea.
Kind of, but if you had time to sit on the phone, you had time to go on Amazon. And it wasn't even a 1-800 number. It was a Riverside, California number. This was in New York City. And they found out years later that people were calling, and then you could also call the number and get connected to someone in your contacts. So they found out that people from Riverside were calling Quixie and getting connected to like Europe, and like the phone bills were crazy. I mean, the whole company was a disaster. Our accountant was this latent gay guy who
What
had
does
a
latent
family.
mean?
Not latent, because that's
Well, what
different.
does latent mean? Because they would say we've got a latent print, or he's a latent homosexual.
I think
said that like
latent
Norm.
means it
Hey,
didn't.
latent homosexual.
God, that's your norm is good. I remember hearing that before.
That's good, yeah.
It comes out later in life, I mean, but his wasn't coming out.
So if you're a latent homosexual, it means you're not out yet.
I think so.
And if you got a latent print, it came out like 2 days after the crime.
Oh,
You're
I
not
don't know
sure.
that. That's too
You never
CSI
heard that?
for me.
Maddie, you know anything about that?
No.
He'll look it up. All right.
But anyway, so this guy would sit next to me, Tony, and he would leave work for like 3 hours and come back and be like, "Can you keep a secret? I just met someone in the elevator who wanted me to pose for romance novel covers, and I just did a photo shoot at the Chelsea Hotel." And I'm like, "What?" And then he would sit at his desk.
I bet he did.
Yeah, he'd sit at his desk with pictures of his family, and then he'd be like, "So, I've seen any good movies lately?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know." And I'd say some movie, he'd go, "Chick flick, ugh." And that's how he talked.
But he was uber gay.
Uber gay, but says he had a wife and kids.
Latent, a quality or state existing but not yet developed or manifested.
Oh, there you
Jen
go.
Kirkman nailed it. And Emerson University Education will let you know what latent
College.
means.
I think it's just a college.
Emerson College. We'll give it time.
Yeah.
Let it aspire to be a university. Right now it's a borough,
major
then it'll be a
comedy.
town, then it's a college, then it's a university.
Oh, whoops.
So the guy, are you spilling more coffee all over yourself?
So
the guy was super gay,
Yeah.
but always talking about like, whatever, chick flick.
And then there was this woman, Lisa, heavyweight human resource, heavyweight.
A heavy, wet. You know what? It kind of is funnier that way. Go with that.
A heavy, wet,
Stick with it.
sad human resources lady who would say things to me.
A heavy, wet, sad human resources.
She would say
lady.
things to me like everyone came to me because I was the assistant and I had all the information.
How are you a temp with all the info? You must have been.
No, I wasn't a temp. This became a real job
at an office.
Yeah.
In Boston.
No, this is New York City.
Like I said.
Like you said, New York City. So she comes over to my desk and she would sit on it. How was your weekend? And I'm like, I have the same weekend every weekend. I did stand up. Like there's no, there was no like I went away or whatever. And she's like, well, my dad was supposed to visit, but he didn't. Her dad was some ambassador that she never saw. It was like totally.
So she says.
So yeah, it was so sad. And then
He's a doorman at the Ambassador Hotel.
I think it was just someone who never wanted to see her.
That might be the worst joke this month of all podcasts.
Where is the Ambassador Hotel?
It's not
DC?
there anymore. It's where Bobby Kennedy got shot.
Oh, that's right in L.A.
Her husband was Bobby Kennedy. He's an ambassador
I don't
at the
think he'd date
Ambassador.
this woman. Not to be mean. But then she found a boyfriend.
Okay.
And
the
he
fat, sad lady.
Yeah, and he
Wet-
was
who
kind of like a
wet
chubby
sad.
guy who wore Mickey Mouse ties. She showed me his picture.
Oh my God, that's perfectly corporate.
Yeah, so he worked in Connecticut, so they didn't see each other a lot. But they moved in together. And she would come to my desk and go, "So last night I stripped off all my clothes and left the trail of them up the stairs. And then when Khan got home, he saw that and thought someone had broken in. So he called the police instead of coming upstairs and having sex with me." I'm like,
Khan?
that was his name was like Constantine, so she called him Khan.
Khan.
But
I
I'm
wish it
like-
was Scott Khan, married to a big, fat, sad, wet lady.
But then she tells me she forced him to marry her. She forced him. They were going on a cruise, and she said, "Khan, are you going to propose on the cruise?" He's like, "I hadn't planned on it." And she got pissed at him and basically told him what she wanted. She wanted to be proposed to in Central Park, and he better get the ring this weekend before the cruise. So he did.
I think you should do that. My wife circled the ring in a magazine that she wanted.
That's fine.
Because if left to chance, I'll come
The
back.
ring, that's fine, but she probably had a feeling you were going to propose, right?
Yeah, we talked about getting married early, like right when we met.
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
Yeah.
and when Harry met Sally, if you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start right away. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those, and we'd be like, this would be a nice place to get married. Oh, you know what happened? I was going to ask her, she went to school at St. Monica's as a kid, and I was going to go to Mass with her.
Is that big, beautiful church?
In Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica, yeah.
And I was going to, coming out of church, I was going to get on one knee outside the church, propose to her and say, "This is where you spent the first part of your life. I want you to spend the rest of your life
Oh,
with
how
me."
lovely.
Like the steps of the church being the pastor.
But you
of the
kneel
church.
down and the crowd stampedes you and you fall over.
Yeah. A gay Asian crowd. It's a very progressive church. So she was doing a photo shoot for somebody, and the girl, like one of the ladies at the photo shoot says, "Are you guys getting married?" I go, "Yeah, but can you keep a secret?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I told her, and then she literally walked in the room and told my wife how it was going to go.
What the fuck?
And then it was in the article next to the photo of my wife, and then I wound up proposing in the bathroom, the master bathroom with